Emasculation is the removal of the external male sex organs, which includes both the penis and the scrotum, the latter of which contains the testicles. It is distinct from castration, where only the testicles are removed. Now, this is the medical, surgical definition of the word, but there's a second definition much more in line with today's theme, and that is to make a man feel less masculine, to deprive a man of his male strength, role, etc. He plays the role of a meek husband who has been emasculated by his domineering wife. Shout out to Britannica.com, the online edition of the Encyclopedia Britannica. So, today we're going to discuss the 10 different ways women emasculate men. I guess there could be more, but these are certainly the top 10. These are the ones that are most easily identifiable, even by passersby, even by people in your life who have the benefit and the privilege of being objective because they're not as close to the situation as you are. They're able to look at this thing being your relationship, as sort of a bird's eye view. They're able to see it in ways you can't because they're not blinded by emotion as you might be. A quick word of caution for this video in terms of its intended audience. This video is primarily aimed at my guys who are, or at the very least consider themselves relationship guys. Guys who want a girlfriend, guys who perhaps have one already, guys who are engaged, and my married guys. I love you all. I'm glad you're here. This video is mostly for you, but for my guys who are just casually dating, you're entertaining some females, you're not quite sure which one to take serious, but you're looking at the different ones you got in your stable, and you're looking at the one who might be a long-term prospect. This video is for you guys as well, so let's get started. Number 1, controlling. Controlling falls under the category of trying to assert dominance. This is the whole where you're going, who's going to be there, how long you're going to be there, this and the third. Telling you that you need to stop doing the things that bring you joy and happiness. This is when she starts to encroach upon your hobbies, whatever they may be. I don't know if it's video games, if you like to fish, if you like to hunt, if you like to go to the range 3-4 times a week, if you and your boys go play pickup games at the YMCA. Maybe you live in a colder climate, you guys like to go out and play ice hockey on the lake, but I don't know. You guys know your free time far better than I do. And you know what you and your friends bond over way better than I can ever guess it. But these things were important to you way before she came into the picture. A woman who's trying to control aspects of your life that bring you joy, that do not cause you harm. I want to specify that. We're having a whole different conversation if you have destructive habits. Like if you're gambling too much and you can hardly ever make your rent, or you gotta ask your landlord to float you a couple of days because you're always at the casino, or if you got a drinking problem and it's starting to cause you issues at work, or if you're not being as productive as you could be because you smoke too much weed or whatever. If the woman in your life is trying to get you to stop doing those things, she's not a part of this video, because you should be as constructive as you can with the brief time you have here on earth. So we're not talking about her, but we are talking about the female who wants you to quit the band that you've been in since high school. She wants you to give up your motorcycle because she thinks it's scary. The girl who wants you to get rid of your firearms when you've been shooting since you were a little boy, going out with your dad and your uncles to go hunt, or whatever the case may be. Maybe you're a sports shooter, maybe you're ex-military or ex-law enforcement. And, being 2A all day like we are around here makes her nervous. And she wants you to get rid of the guns because they're scary. No, absolutely not. That kind of female is only going to be destructive to you, because if you give up something that foundational to who and what you are, you better believe, as sure as the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, that she's going to make more outlandish, she'll call them requests, but they're veiled demands of you in the very near future. Number 2 is nitpicking, aka finding fault in anything and everything that you do. Now, I'm not one who is opposed to constructive criticism. I'm man enough and I'm wise enough to understand that my way of doing things isn't always the best way. After all, we no longer drive around in chariots. We now drive around in cars and trucks. So yeah, there's ways to improve upon the way we've always done things. But when you're with a woman and she is going out of her way to find fault with the way you load the dishwasher, the way you separate clothes for the laundry, what kind of laundry detergent are you using? Are you using enough fabric softener? Are you using too much? Just all these things, and she's just constantly coming at you, picking and picking over completely unnecessary BS. This only comes from one root. That root being ingratitude for what it is you are as a man, what it is you bring to the table in a relationship. She's ungrateful. And because she's ungrateful, she's going to do everything she can if she's not checked immediately and quite harshly, by the way. This is the part, and I know some of you guys have been dealing with this for a while, unfortunately. You let it slide, and now you're in the downslope because these things on this list, they tend to snowball. They tend to accumulate. They tend to merge together as one big lump of shit rolling downhill, and you're standing there in a valley. You have to be very, very harsh with a nitpicking woman, gentlemen. You need to be very harsh and tell her, look, I appreciate your input, whether you really do or not. But this is the way I do things. If you don't like the way I do things, you can wash the dishes. You can do the laundry. You can mow the grass, etc., etc. But you're not gonna nitpick me. I've got one mother, and you don't look anything like her. So watch your mouth and mind your place. Remember, gentlemen, a nitpicking girlfriend, fiance, or spouse is encroaching upon the part of man that makes us men in the first place. Men yearn to be free. Freedom is part of what we are. And on top of that, we have this explorer's spirit inside of us. It's not an accident that we built sailboats to find out faraway lands. It's no accident that we turned hemp into rope so we could climb up to the top of the tallest mountains to enjoy the view. It's no accident that we invented submarines to find out what's at the bottom of the oceans. It's no accident that we built spaceships to go and see what the stars had to offer and to unravel the mysteries of the universe. These aren't accidents. This is our nature. Why you want to go climb that mountain? Because it's there. And that's a good enough reason. But a nitpicking woman is trying to crush your spirit. She's trying to find fault just in you specifically, but in your way of doing things that have made you who you are and have gotten you to this place. You must not tolerate nitpicking, my friends. And if you have been, the time to stop it is today. Number 3, being the fun police. This happens when they build barriers, basic barriers to anything that's emotionally enjoyable. You know, why'd you tell that joke? You sure were smiling hard at that waitress. What you think, she cute or something? People laughing a little too hard. People enjoy you. They enjoy being around you. And what ultimately happens is she realizes that this takes attention away from her. The kids love playing with you. They simply tolerate her. When your friends come over, you guys have a social setting where everybody's around and you're a pretty outgoing personality. And you, like I said, you tell a joke, everybody's cracking up laughing, and she'll come over like she drank a gallon of lemon juice right behind a gallon of vinegar, face all balled up, just throws a wet blanket on the whole interaction. The kids know, oh God, here comes mom. Or, oh boy, here comes stepmom. Or here comes dad's girlfriend. And here she comes again. Just, she's there. She becomes the kind of woman where fun goes to die. And this kind of woman who creates that kind of environment creates a secondary environment. One where you're now walking on eggshells for some reason. Like, damn, I can't say nothing in my own house. I can't be me. And that's the goal. The goal when you can't be yourself is to transform into something you don't even recognize. This thing is malleable like clay in her hands to transform you into something she can eventually despise so she can use hypergamy to move on. This is what happens to guys a lot of times, where they end up in the stupidest conversation of all. I've only had it once. I'll never have it again. Where the man will end up in a situation where she says, I'm breaking up with you because you're not the man I used to know, used to love, used to whatever the fuck she says is stupid. But you're not the guy I used to know or used to want to be with. And then you tell her, as honest as the day is long, I changed for you. She'll have no recollection, of course. She'll have conveniently forgotten about this. And she will have very specific amnesia for that specific point. There will be no self-reflection. There'll be no introspection. She will do these things. She will destroy the relationship and on to the next. Gentlemen, do not permit a woman to be the fun police in your life. Because if she doesn't like you for who you are, if she's trying to short circuit your ability to enjoy yourself around your family and friends, then you ought to remind her where the door is and how to use it. Number 4, shame. Now this one manifests itself in a lot of different ways, but I want to speak specifically about the things that happened in the past, events that have long since been in the rearview mirror, and most specifically, the things that cannot be fixed, cannot be corrected, and cannot be changed. The reason why this is so evil, gentlemen, and this is a very dark feminine trait, most men wouldn't do this because of the almost immediate consequences for doing so. Women will, in their inescapable need for drama, start arguments out of thin air. There's no reason for them. There's absolutely no use for them on your side of the equation. But for her, it's to give herself a dopamine hit. And you, more often than not, being a reasonable, rational male, will see this argument started from nothing, for nothing, and you will absolutely devastate this bullshit excuse for interaction between you and she with logic and reason, and you will leave her standing there looking stupid because she knows that argument was stupid. That was the whole point. But most women, especially ones raised here in the West, they cannot take a loss. They can't take the L, walk away with their tail between their legs and learn the lesson by not doing that again. No, what they'll do very often, not every time, but way more often than necessary, is they'll bring up something from the past that again can't be fixed, can't be changed, can't be corrected, and they'll throw it in your face. Some indiscretion. Maybe there was cheating in the past, I don't fucking know. But something happened in the past. It was either a big deal or actually wasn't, but it was made a big deal out of. And she'll throw it in your face because she couldn't win the argument, so she changed the argument. This is a well-worn tactic, especially by Western women, gentlemen. Shame is a bludgeon. It is a battering ram. It is effectively a verbal equivalent of a baseball bat to beat you into submission by making you feel bad about something you cannot hop into a time machine and go back and fix. Women are very, very careful in their selection of these shame items too, fellas, because she won't pick something that you can correct. She won't pick something that you can fix. It'll be something that simply the time to do so has passed. Like the eclipse. The 40 years before you see another one type of situation. And this is on purpose. This is to bring you under submission, to cut your balls off. And your mission in that situation, in that moment, is to tell her to get her ass back on topic. We're not talking about what happened a month ago, a year ago, 5, 10, 20 years ago. And this is the last time you bring that shit up to me. Because if I ever hear it again, you better mean this when you say it, fellas. You better mean this shit down in your soul and say it with your whole chest. If I ever hear you bring it up again, that's my cue that this relationship is over. And you don't say another mumbling fucking word. Look her straight dead in her face and let her know this was your last straw and you are on thin fucking ice. Gentlemen, women get away with what men allow them to. Make no mistake. We have regimes all over this world that are proof of that concept. There is no back talk in the Muslim world. There is no being belligerent in the Muslim world. And I'm no Muslim. I never will be. But those places are on the exact same planet Earth that we are. Those women have the exact same anatomy as the women here. But somehow, some way, they behave in a feminine manner. They watch what they say. And they keep the bullshit to a remarkably low minimum. Why is that? Well, several reasons. But one of the big ones is there are immediate and in some cases fatal consequences for certain behaviors. And all of the women collectively are aware of what those consequences are. So if you really want to, you can FAFO. You can fuck around and find out. And when you do, what happens to you will be a strict lesson for the rest of them. We don't have that here, unfortunately.